Okay, now solution to our assignment. In the last class, I said you should have an input here. So you type a number, you click on this button, it's going to count down to 0. When it gets to 0, it will stop counting. So let's do that together. Let's get a function called, I'll just call this countdown. 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 So when the user clicks on this button and the user clicks on this function or click on this button, we want it to start counting down till it gets to 0. So what I'll do is that I'll give this an ID. I can call it IMP. So first is we want to get whatever value is there. Let's val equals to IMP dot value. Right. Then I want to say let's convert it to a number. Let's convert it to a number. So IMP does value. Then we can now say that subtract 1 from that and return it back. So we can say IMP dot value equals to var minus 1. Let's start with this. When the user clicks on this button, it's going to call on this function. First is we are getting whatever is inside this input, converting it to a number, save it as variable var. We are now saying that subtract 1 from it and set it back inside this input. Any questions so far? Let's start with this. So when the user clicks, this becomes 11. When you click again, this becomes 10. This becomes 10. Well, this is not what I asked you to do. This is not what I asked you to do. You only click once. According to what I asked you to do, you only click once and it starts counting down. But we are taking it step by step. Any question to these points? Okay, let's proceed. The next is this. Instead of you waiting for the user to click each time, you want to automate it. It starts counting down itself. So we can make use of the set what's it called? Set interval. That is, maybe after every 1 second, keep running this code. After every 1 second, keep running these codes. So what we can do is this. We can say, I've got a function. You can say start counting down, start count down. So it says set time, set interval counts down. No, this is 1000 milliseconds. So instead of this being count down, this becomes start counts down. Let's see what happens now. When the user clicks on this button, it's going to run this code for me. Every 1 second now, it will keep calling on this function. It will get this, save it as a variable var, subtract 1 from it, set it back. Another 1 second, it will do that again. Another 1 second, it will do that again. So it's going to keep doing that for us. Let's check if it's working. Click. Now, it's working. It's working. Any question to this point? Any question to this point? No, but there's a problem with this approach. The problem is that you want it to stop at 0. You know, we said once it gets to 0, it needs to stop counting, not that it should continue counting. Like, I don't want to see any of these negative numbers. So let's see how we can handle that together. So you can save this in a variable called timeout, so that whenever it's time to stop it, you clear the timeout. You clear the timeout. So let's get a variable called timeout. Let's time out. So you can say timeout equals to this. So we can now check some conditions. That is, if this condition is met, we want to clear the timeout. We can say if var if is equal to 0, then clear timeout. Oh, sorry, clear interval. Sorry, we can call this interval instead. Clear interval. Clear timeout is for timeouts. This is for interval. Clear interval. You can now clear the interval. So what happens is that when you click on this button, it will run the code here. It will set the interval every 1 second. It knows that it will start calling on this. Then it saves that as variable interval. So every 1 second it's going to run this. Get whatever is inside this input, save it as var, subtract 1 from it and set it back. Check if this condition is true. If the condition is true, then it's going to clear the interval to stop it. But if the condition is not, it will keep counting. Yeah, it will keep counting. Now, based on this, I think I can still see a problem. But let's run it together. I think this should stop at -1. Yeah, this is stop at -1. Good. Let's look at why it's stopping at -1. What happens is that when, let's assume you typed 5 here. Let's assume the user typed 5 here. I click on this button, it's going to run this. This will call on this every 1 second. If you get that 5, save it as var. 5 minus 1, input out var becomes 4. Remember, our var is 5. Is 5 equals to 0? No, it's not going to run the code here. In the next 1 second again, it will call on this function. Input.var, which is 4 now, var becomes 4. Input.value equals to var minus 1, which is 3. Is var, which is 4, is it equals to 0? No. It's not going to run the code here. After 1 second again, due to this set interval, after 1 second, it's going to run this code again. Input.value, which is 3, I think so. 3, var becomes 3. Var minus 1, 3 minus 1, input.value becomes 2. That is, it's going to put 2 inside this place. var is still 3. Is var equals to 0? No. It's going to run this code again in the next 1 second. Then you have 2. Var becomes 2. 2 minus 1, input.value becomes 1. So it's going to put 1 inside this place. Then var is still 2. Is 2 equals to 0? No. It's not going to do anything. Next 1 second again, it will run this code. Input.value equals to 1, so var becomes 1. Var minus 1, so it's going to put 1 minus 1, that's 0. It will put 0 inside this input, but your var is still 1. Is var equals to 0? No, var is 1, so it doesn't meet this condition. But remember, we already have 0 inside this input now. Now in the next 1 second again, it will run this code. Input.value, which is 0, var becomes 0. Var minus 1, 0 minus 1, that's minus 1. Input.value now will be minus 1, so you see minus 1 inside this. Is var equals to 0? Yes, var is now 0, so it's going to stop. Right. So one thing we can do is that we can do this. We can do this. So when var is equal to 1, input.value is var minus 1, that's 0. That's when you're going to display 0 on the page. This should solve the problem now, and should work as expected. So you see it's working. You are welcome. Now, any question as regards this solution? Any question? So this is you using Client Tower.
Good. Okay. Good evening.
Good evening.
Please, what's the difference between I think the assignment I used input minus minus also.
Okay.
Can we still use that one?
Yes, you can use input as value minus minus. That is input as value equals to input as value minus 1. Well, let me use this opportunity to explain post increment and pre increment. Maybe that's what you're going to do today. Pre increment and post increment. Pre increment and post increment. Let's look at it together. What I will do is I will stop this recording so that this part will be a separate class on its own.